Peace and power, family. It's your boy Shang the artist, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Rebellious Rhymer podcast. That's right, the Rebellious Rhymer podcast. It is black conservatism without the buck dancing. And yo, today we got a special guest. You know what I'm saying? This brother has been wreaking havoc on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? He's been going in on these colonizers and people trying to assimilate and essentially take over our culture. This brother is not having it. He's going in. He's known on TikTok as Story Guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's a Bronx native, and he was there in the early. Oh, he's a Brooklyn native. You know what I'm saying? But he's been around. He's been moving around, moving and shaking in the Bronx for quite some time. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome, a warm rebellious rhymer welcome to our brother, Story Guy.
Hey, what's happening, my good people? In New York, in Georgia, Texas, wherever y'all at.
That's right. That's right. Yo, man. I guess people want to know what are your earliest memories of hip hop music? You know, where did you first hear it?
Okay, I'm 64, so let's say in 1970. I want to go back. No, let's go 71 because I want to stick with my brothers. A channel called the Channels in 71. These are Bronx black dudes, like foundational black Americans in West Bronx. And while they was up there doing their breakdancing, it took just a moment to spread down to Brooklyn. But as a New York City kid, we traveled all over. We were street kids. Like when I was 9, I could ride the train all over New York City. And just think about that. Our moms would think we in the back, not back. They think we outside playing. And me and my friends, we were in the train. We stick in the train. We talking about 1970, 71. So, my main thing is that I've been around Puerto Ricans since I was like 7, and I spoke the language. Not as good anymore. Yo sé un poquito español because there's a time I hadn't spoken it, so I lost a lot of it. But I hung out with Puerto Ricans. They was cool with me. It was a good thing. Even though my black friends would get on my case and say, "Yo, why you hanging with the Puerto Ricans?" But I've been around Puerto Ricans a while.
That's right. That's right. Well, who are some of your most influential DJs and MCs coming up in your neighborhood? Who were some of the guys that y'all looked up to back then?
Well, we had different guys. So in different part of town, you would have other DJs. Like in the Bronx, we knew about. Well, actually, I found out about these guys later. That's not like DJ John Brown, I think in Brooklyn, and
Right.
Disco King Mario. I gotta go to him the most because he's so important to hip hop, brother. He is really the first hip hop DJ. And don't let the disco fool you. The reason why, this is how good this brother was. Oh, and by the way, Disco King Mario came from North Carolina. This is a black foundational thing. He moved to the Bronx, I think 68. Don't count me on that. And he started playing break beats in West Bronx at a time when Puerto Ricans and blacks, it's very important. And Puerto Ricans rewriting history. Puerto Ricans and blacks was not cool. They was not cool in 71. I remember it crystal clear, and I want anybody to talk to me about it. Crazy Legs, anybody. Now in the 80s, this is later, I watched break dance, and I watched Crazy Legs and the Puerto Ricans break dance, and I liked it. But it had already been done a decade before. So let me just make that clear. So I listened to James Brown. I listened to let's go by the earliest breakdance I remember when Good Times came out. Good Time, do. These are and the DJs.
That's right.
One particular, because I had moved to Staten Island from Brooklyn. A guy named DJ Jones. It's not the original DJ Jones from Brooklyn. At least I don't think it is. I hope it is. But it was the DJ Jones in Staten Island. And when she came out with Good Times. Remember, this is later after hip hop started. They would play. They would loop. He would loop the break part, boom, boom, and we would dance to that. We would dance whatever the latest dances was, and these was mostly the rebel black kids who did these dances. We moved away from the traditional just R&B, and we did the R&B, but we concentrated on the break dances. And I'm gonna shout my man out.
Right.
Staten Island is the earliest guy I seen break dancing on Staten Island, and then this is late. It's like 76, so it's like after. But my man Darren Brown from Stapleton Projects, rest in peace. He told me when they used to play, let's dance to the drummer's beat, let's dance, turn on, turn.
That's right.
And I used to watch. His name was Dutch. He would get down. That's when he get down to the break beats. So anyway, I'm sorry. I get. It's nothing to do with Puerto Ricans. They were still doing salsa. I like Tito Puente, El Gran Combo. I love Puerto Rican salsa, but it has nothing to do with hip hop creation.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. Like I like to say, I know there's a lot of Boricua brothers. I grew up, around Latinos myself, Puerto Ricans, El Salvadorians, Dominicans, stuff like that. And their contributions to hip hop were insurmountable. I will give them credit. But when it comes to the creation story and the 50-50 thing, that's where I'm like, hey, whoa, wait a minute now. Hold your horses there. You know what I'm saying? So, I definitely agree with you on that front. They made some very much instrumental contributions to hip hop. They were the first students of hip hop, and they are very much appreciated in their contributions. But the issue with me came with the 50-50 creation thing, which, obviously the FBA had to come and check that rhetoric. But let me ask you another question. So when you were growing up, what were some of the most popular spots, that you used to go to, the hip hop spots, in the Bronx or in Brooklyn, or where did you used to hang out at?
I gotta say this because I gotta word it properly. Because I've seen a lot of Latinos who not even Puerto Rican. We got to be careful when we say contribute, okay? Let me say this here. The only things really that I've seen that Puerto Ricans contribute, when you say contribute, is that, listen to this carefully, when the original black B-boys in the Bronx, who I know their names, is Trixie, A1 B-Boy, Sasa, you can always find these guys.
That's right.
Most of them are still alive. DJ Faze from West Bronx, Bronxdale Houses. The guys, the nigger twins, they started calling them the twins because they didn't want to use, but Dancing Doug. And there's others I can go on. There's one guy named Diva. You hear the older guy talk about Diva. He was like only 11. This guy, you'll hear even Puerto Rican guys say Diva was the best break dancer. But so Puerto Ricans didn't really contribute as much as they added on. So you can say contribute, but they contribute in breakdancing. I don't see them never as rappers. And you would have one or two, because remember, they didn't really speak our language. In fact, when I was growing up in the 70s, in early 70s, most of them, they still talk like they had an accent. They go, yo, what's up, yo? They talk to me like this. I'm just keeping it real. And when I would hang with them, my friends would go, yo, why you hanging with the Puerto Ricans? Because we wasn't together like that. That's my point. In the Bronx or in Brooklyn, that's a lie. And you could see Crazy Legs on video saying, yes, that's the Moreno dance. He tried to rewrite the story, Crazy Legs, and then I think after he got checked, he came back around. And I'm gonna tell you, Crazy Legs, you're smart. Stay on code, baby. If you could go far, because we like what you did, but if you try to claim too much for Puerto Ricans, you're gonna get shut down like Fat Joe and that guy Derek Colon. So no, I can go on. Just ask me questions. I'm a Puerto Rican expert. That's what I don't know all the stuff about the hip hop creation. I'll lead you to other guys who told me, and we learned from them. But the ones I'm telling you is that Puerto Ricans had nothing to do with creating hip hop. They listened to salsa. These are the groups, and even when I was locked up with them, they listened to El Gran Combo, Tito Puente. I love these groups. Ruben Blacks. He made a song on some Chica Plástica about she's una Chica Plástica, meaning she's plastic, she's fake. Phil Laveau, he was the Prince of Salsa. He died young of drug overdose. But I can go on. Puerto Ricans, they had nothing to do with creating hip hop.
That's right. Like I say, I very much agree with you on that. And, as far as the creation story, when I keep hearing the early stories, go ahead, bro.
I'm back. I got distracted by my neighbor.
No, it's all good.
And my neighbor, it's funny. I really got to be careful. His mom is Latino. He's a good guy. I got to be careful. And his father's black, so it's from North Carolina. Ain't that crazy? So he's like a mixed black guy. So I want to make sure I don't want them to hear me, because when I speak about Latinos and Puerto Ricans, and I don't often I feel bad because I gotta hit them hard because it's a diaspora war, man, and ours is ours and yours is yours. There's no we. See, they see us shining so much, man. The culture, and because the Puerto Ricans was there so early, and, in the '80s, not the '70s, '80s, and no, and because they made these movies, these wild style movies, and these beat streets, which were recorded after the original B Boys had stopped breaking. Remember that when the original
Right.
young black B Boys they grew up. They wasn't trying to spit on the floor and get dirty. We went on to new dances. I can show you the video when the guy in Spanish, he's asking a legendary, I think it's Whipper Whipper, one of them legendary Puerto Rican breakdancers. He's being interviewed by a Puerto Rican. And they asked him in Spanish, blah, 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 blah. And he explained to them, the original black, he said, why they stopped breaking. And he explained to you from these years, I think he said from 77, 78, 79, something like that. He said there was no breaking. And the guys asked why. He said because the original black B-boys, they started doing other dances like the freak because they wanted to dance with girls. See, little kids break dancing. Black kids was break. Yeah, they was kids. It wasn't these grown 20-year-old. The Puerto Ricans, they kept doing it in their 20s because they didn't have nothing else to create, I guess.
Right, yeah, this is the thing about foundational Black Americans. We are very innovative, a very creative group of people. So we are always constantly coming up with the newest dance craze. Like you saying, you was talking about the Patty Duke and the Spank, and there's so many different other dances that we would the WAP. You know what I'm saying? The freak, all of that, the bus stop. So it was so many different. We are always coming up with new and innovative dances. So we're always moving on. So it's not like we abandon our dances that we create. We just are so creative that we just keep creating new dances. Like for instance, when we talk about locking, that was created in 1968 by Don Campbell Campbell.
I know that.
That's right. And
California, California, right?
Out on the West Coast. That's right. In California, Don Campbell Campbell was the creator of the group, the Lockers. And Locking went out. Yeah, that's right.
We watched that in New York. We watched Locking. We watched
Soul
Locking
Train
in New York. And that went into breakdancing too. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I wanted to mention because locking is considered the very first form of hip hop street dancing. Where they bought where they where they
I kind of agree with you, and I'm not. So I'm not. It's the earliest that I remember, to be honest with you, that I saw. Yeah,
out in the streets.
Yeah.
Definitely, because Don Campbell started the locking movement. The locking it came from the dance called the Funky Chicken. So
right, I remember the Funky Chicken.
Yeah, that's right. So from the Funky Chicken,
we used to be in Brooklyn dance to the Funky Chicken.
That's right.
Because us black folks keep making up that good dances, but keep on going.
Exactly, brother. So this is the point.
I'm throwing this in right now because I'm getting hyped. I'm born and raised in New York, everybody. My family from the South and other places. All the brothers I hung out in New York, they all had families from the South. There was one cat, we thought, I ain't gonna say we thought he was a foundational Black American, but it don't matter. His parents from the Caribbean. The only reason why we knew that because we heard them speak, but he never spoke on it because the Caribbeans and the other, they wasn't trying to show their Caribbean side because they wanted to be Americanized. So
they wanted to. That's another point that I'd be making is that they have to, even when these guys are Caribbean or Jamaican or African or whatever diaspora they may be, it's like especially back in the days, we didn't know. We didn't know because they assimilated into black culture. No, we didn't care either. If you was down for the crown, you down for yours, and you get down, with the brothers, then we rock with you. And that's how we move. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the locking goes, a lot of people do not want to give credit, and I'm going to be real. I'm talking. I spoke with a few Puerto Ricans, and they do not. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it absolutely 100.
New Yorkers, New Yorkers.
That's right. I'm gonna keep it funky, baby.
I'm gonna break down to you why that is. After you give me a chance, why I think.
Exactly. Well, see, the thing is, they don't want to consider locking as a form of up rock dancing, which I find that odd because in all of the early hip hop movies, you got Wild Style, you got Beat Street. You got Star Wars, and all of these early hip hop docu series and these hip hop movies had elements of locking in them. Even Lee on B
Yes,
Street, you see
of
Lee
course.
locking on B Street.
Yeah, of course.
In Wild Style at the end when they did the jam at the amphitheater, you had brothers locking at the amphitheater. You have people locking at the Roxy on B Street. On the Beat Street, you had
Okay,
people at the
let
Roxy
me
locking. So
I,
locking is definitely a form of up rocking in the breaking. Because when I was a youth, when I was a kid, and I would see people locking, you know what I used to say? I used to say, "Oh, locking is the dance that the breakers do when they're standing up." And I used to be a breaker.
that's
I used to
interesting.
be a
That's
b
interesting you
boy.
said
Now
that.
I couldn't. Now I wasn't. Granted, I wasn't that good, so I kind of gave up on it. But I was definitely breaking in the early '80s, and I always looked at locking as what the breakers do when they stood up. Part of what they do when
Okay,
they stood up. But
let
but
me
go ahead,
respond to
brother.
this. Look, because it's very important because this is important. Now, you know how you have regional pride, right? Everybody got
Right.
that, and it's always been that way. This is when you put locking. I'm just gonna put yes, locking. We New Yorkers, we saw that locking and we incorporated it into our breakdancing. But we don't. If you say it started from anywhere outside New York, you'll get pushback, and I agree. You have to say
Right.
the roots of it started outside of New York. Let's make that clear. And
Right.
its roots is Southern black people. And so hip hop roots is Southern black people. It's Southern black people who went to New York and in New York City. And I don't like to call that New York City culture because these Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, they try to use New York City culture to co-opt the black Americans there and
That's
eliminate
right.
where we came from. So it started in New York. Hip hop started in New York City from foundational black Americans who listened to Southern music and had parents from the South. These Southern parents, their children, us, my mother from Georgia, we in New York City, we we started dancing a certain way to break beats that no one else was doing. And that's where the New York, but it was black Americans. It wasn't Jamaicans. It wasn't Puerto Ricans, but it was black Americans, mostly black Americans with Southern roots in New York City created hip hop. Did I say it? That's how I'm saying it.
No,
And I can
that's
say that.
correct because it
And
was
it
a lot of
and I can say that
migrating.
I could back that up all day. I can go all the music we listened to was Southern artists, mostly James Brown. This is what the guys in the West Bronx will tell you. The West Bronx foundational black Americans, Trixie, A1 B-Boy, Sasha. I hope they, DJ Faze, I hope to meet these guys. These guys are like my heroes. Because when I first started seeing Puerto Ricans trying to claim hip-hop a couple years ago, I was incensed. It ate me up because I said, fuck. Because I remember when hip-hop started, I was so happy. I remember is that we had something, because it was a rebel music. Let me explain this. My brother, he wasn't into hip-hop like me. It was the street kids in New York. We was rebels. But all the music we listened to was black music. Okay, there you go. Was James Brown from
Mm-hmm.
Augusta, Georgia. He's the main one we dance to. It's very important. Aretha Franklin, you bet. I'm thinking about
Oh
Lynn
yeah,
Collins.
rock
Lynn
steady,
Collins.
rock
No,
steady, man.
Rocksteady was Rocksteady. I think came out in 71, 72. That's one of the main breakdancing songs with Aretha Franklin, who's the queen of soul, and Lynn Collins. I use her. I could go on because I didn't realize he was a James Brown artist. That's why she said, "You better think, I don't know time. Think,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know time. Think about that, and
That's
I'm
right.
dancing right now to it. Right now, I'm dancing.
Exactly. You
That's a
got me. You
black
got
thing.
me grooving over here.
That's a black thing, and I can't take no Puerto Ricans crazy. None of y'all shake your hips. Y'all dance different. I love Puerto Rican salsa. We don't shake our hips like y'all. That's not our shit. All right,
Exactly.
you Puerto Ricans want to do that shit, but don't try to say that's what made hip hop, because then we gonna blast you and you are gonna get your feelings hurt. Because I can go on all day. Puerto
That's
Ricans was
right.
not down with it. They called it Moreno music. They called it. Answer that, Puerto Ricans. Did Puerto Ricans or not call it Moreno music in the 70s? Did they call it Jungle Bunny music? Did they? And if you say they didn't, we'll easily catch you in the lie. I'm breathing hard. Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans had zero part of creating hip hop. They just try to slip in. Oh, this guy, his great uncle traveled to Jamaica in the 30s, and we think he's possible. His great It was raised in America. We didn't have no. We didn't. First
around
time I saw Jamaican
foundational Black
around foundation,
Americans. But this is
and we
something.
traveled.
This is something that I always like to. This is how I always did that argument. When somebody tells me that hip hop was started in Jamaica or that hip hop was started in Puerto Rico, this is what I say. I say, okay, when you go to Jamaica, you point out to me any element of hip hop that proves that it was created there in Jamaica. You won't see none. You won't see any. As a matter of fact, you won't see any elements of early hip hop in Jamaica. You won't see any early elements of hip hop in Puerto Rico either.
Because it wasn't there. That's
Right,
why it
because it
wasn't
did
there
not start
early.
there. If it was created by Jamaicans and if it was created by Puerto Ricans, then you would see early elements of hip hop. It's like when like I've traveled to Africa and I've been to Egypt, and
Okay,
I've been
that's
throughout the
interesting enough.
pyramids. Yes, I've been throughout the pyramids of Giza. I've been
Yo,
throughout
that's awesome.
the step
Hey, brother,
pyramids. And this is let me get this out real quick. And this is one
okay.
thing that when you go into those pyramids, you see the hieroglyphics on the walls. You feel the spirit of the ancient Commissions, the ancient Egyptians. You feel their spirit. You feel their soul. They left their writings behind and wall on the walls so you can see. So if hip hop was created in Jamaica or in the Caribbeans anywhere, you should be able to see. There should be some monumental museum type of things going on in Jamaica as far as hip hop is concerned, but it's not.
Okay,
But there's
I
not
want to take
because it
that
was
now.
not
I want to
it's
go to
not
Jamaicans now.
created there. Go ahead, brother.
All right, I'm gonna go to Jamaica. You said a lot, and listen, man. I had to figure this shit out. I'm like, why is this shit going on with these fucking Jamaican? I'm sorry for cursing. How it bothered me because I didn't even. I think the first time I recognized what a Jamaican was, man, was it's. Well, I would hear the West Indian parade in New York. I have to admit, when I was in Brooklyn, okay, and then I moved. I moved to Staten Island. You might want to figure that out. Moved from Brooklyn, but I really didn't really know the West Indian parade. It was like just the word, and I knew they were black people. I'm not just clear. The first time I really knew when this Jamaican dude, he had the dreads and he had I think a hat on. The dreads was dirty looking. And the reason why I'm saying is because they said Jamaicans help create hip hop. Hip hop is not looking dirty. Part of being hip hop was dressing neat. The guys in West Bronx would tell you that it's a culture. It wasn't just the music. If you was hip hop, and it wasn't called hip hop. See, they called that later. But the people who they hip hop, it was you had to dress a certain way. You had to dress cool, like really the newest clothes, haircuts. Not busted like dreads. It was certain language and slang we spoke, and we danced a certain way to the beats, to the James Brown beats, not to regular music, just
Right.
the beat. It was like, you guys check out my man. You gotta check out the Deuce in the West Bronx later. But anyway, I'll get back to it before I get thrown off, because I'll get thrown off all over the place. So the Jamaicans in New York City, this is very important. You have so many Jamaican immigrant children who grew up in Black American culture. They talk like Black Americans. They use our slang. Everything you see Black Americans do, you'll see the Jamaican immigrant kids do. So we don't know who they are, but we know. And I'm going back. Let's go back to the 70s, 80s, because now in 90s we started enjoying Jamaican music, just Shabba
Yeah,
Ranks, and I
Shaba,
love
and one of my
Supercat.
favorite was
Yeah,
Mad Lion. You
I
know what I'm
love Man
saying?
Lion. I love Supercat.
Yeah,
Supercat
Super Cat,
Dandada, the type of Supercat Dandada. We love the
Ani
Jamaican shit.
Kamosi.
Ani Mosey.
Yeah,
Now,
the high stepper. So we did enjoy the Caribbean style. But I wanted to
however,
I wanted to ask you.
however,
Oh, okay, well, go ahead,
okay,
brother. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead. You gotta cut me off
Because
sometime. You
because
gotta
we
cut me
talk
off. Go ahead,
about
brother.
because we're talking about fashion right now. So I just
Okay.
wanted to ask you, how did the fashion and style in hip hop evolve? In your observation, how did the fashion evolve in hip hop from in
Okay.
Bronx or Brooklyn or wherever? Like, what was you
I,
rocking?
I,
What was you rocking
okay.
back then?
I
And
was
what were the
rocking.
kids rocking?
Damn. All right, These didn't know that there was Gabardines, shell toe Adidas, which came late in the 80s. Before that, we wore Converses and we wore Keds and we called Pro Keds. Pro Keds is probably late 60s, early 70s, Pro Kids, and there was other clothes. Now, the brothers in the Bronx, DJ Faze and them cats, they was wearing even more because they were in the epicenter of hip hop beginning. They wore even flyer stuff. So we in Brooklyn, we kind of, I don't know, I don't want to Brooklyn dudes might get mad if I say we got it from the Bronx. I don't want to say that. See, you gotta be careful because even in New York, we got our borough. We had our borough. Like but we was off FBA. They had the Bronx. Yeah, the Bronx is better than Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn's better than Manhattan. But we was all FBA going against each other. You feel me?
That's right.
All of us. It wasn't no Jamaicans. I'm not having that shit. Now I understand why y'all doing it, Jamaicans. I'm gonna keep because your culture don't shine like us, and y'all been in New York so long, and y'all didn't think we was gonna delineate. So now we claiming it. Y'all been flying. This is a new thing. In the 90s, I started seeing people fly these flags on their car. I'm like, I'm not saying Jamaica. I'm asking, what kind of flag is that? But Black Americans, we don't fly them damn flags, you see? But they wasn't doing that in the 70s and 80s, right? So now they've been around us so long, and they see, we Black Americans shine in the world of sports, music, culture, fashion. People copy us in England, everywhere. So if you're a Jamaican American, and you talk and look and dress like me, and then you got some kind of ethnic pride, you kind of want to figure yourself in there too. So you're going to look for any Jamaican, somebody who might have Jamaican, say, yeah, George Moore has this, and they'll start naming like Biggie Smalls, who came fucking late. And these are American black kids who you would assume was Black American because they wasn't talking with Jamaican accents.
Exactly.
They wasn't doing. So we don't care if Biggie Smalls got Jamaican ancestry. We like the Black American music he's doing. He wasn't doing no goddamn Jamaican music. That's what kills me. And now I ain't gonna lie. They got me to the point now if I hear them think I get disgusted. I wasn't like when I seen Caribbeans trying to take our music, I barely like listening to any Caribbean music. And that's messed up. They made me, I can't even stand the accent now because I expect the guy, I expect them to go, yeah, man, you know, hip hop started in Jamaica. And that shit pissed me off. So we got Black Americans around the country. We gatekeeping, and anybody disrespect us and try to claim our culture, we're going to call you out. I can go on, but I gotta stop.
Exactly, brother. I mean, you absolutely right about that. And just from my personal observation growing up, I grew up in the 80s and in the 90s. So when I was in middle school in the 90s, we had an influx of immigrants coming through. So this was like early 90s, maybe 1990, 1991. So
like 20 years after hip hop began.
Right, yeah, 20 years after hip hop began. But I'm still on the fashion thing. So when these guys would immigrate to our schools, they would often get clowned. We would clown because check this out, man. Because you see, they was getting clowned, and it wasn't because they're Jamaican or because they're Caribbean or because they were African or because they had an accent. No, they was getting clowned because of the gear that they was rocking. They was getting clowned because they would come to school with sandals, open-toe sandals with ashy ankles. They would come to school, straight up. I mean, they would come to school
in the 90s.
In the 90s, in the early 90s. This is early 90s, early 90s. I would see some of these. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. And exactly. So they were rocking. Like I remember this cat individual, several of them. They would come to school with a pair of church dress slacks on, some sneakers, and a goddamn sweatshirt.
Cowboy hat.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and all kind of weird stuff. And it's like,
whatever clothes they could get, they would grab.
Whatever clothes that they can get. It looked like their mama just went.
That's how it is. Because that's how it is in Jamaica.
I mean, that's how it is. They look like their mother just went to the thrift store, just grabbed this and that. It doesn't matter. You go to school and get your education.
They gonna like me for this, but I don't care because y'all got it. A lot of Jamaicans, if you ain't anti-Black American, you ain't mad. And if in case you wonder why I sound hostile, I'm sounding hostile because of you can't Jamaicans you can't see Jamaicans saying stuff negative about us and then tell me I ain't supposed to fight back. So that's why I say some of y'all you're going to catch straight shots, so you can either stay out of it or you can catch the shots too. But Black Americans and Jamaicans, we different. We have our own ethnicity, our own culture, our own history, our own civil rights, our own music. Jamaicans had zero part of hip hop. In fact, you research it, all your elders, including you, Roy, they will tell you, they were on film saying, yeah, man, we got it from the Americans. They said in the 50s and 40s, we would go to America because sometimes they hire you to do work in the fields, and we would buy American records. And sometimes it wasn't the work in the fields. We buy American records because we can go back to Jamaica and sell it for 6 times. And y'all would listen to our music,
Exactly.
and you had radios that could reach America. You Jamaicans would listen to our music in the 70s. We wasn't listening to y'all.
One of my favorite groups, the Wailers, with Bob Marley, Bunny Wailer, and Peter Tosh, they did an early interview in the 70s, and they said, I believe it was Bunny Wailers in particular, but the Wailers even said that they got their inspiration from Black American soul music. That's where they
Of
got their
course.
inspiration from. So,
Of course
and
they
these
did.
are the OG reggae,
That's right.
and I love reggae. And
Me too.
in particular, roots rock reggae. I love reggae. I'm not
Roots
really into
rock
the
reggae.
exactly.
That's the reggae
I'm not really
music.
into the
Roots rock
dance
reggae.
hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really into the dance hall stuff. I really never got into that. But
Boom, boom, boom,
the
boom,
roots
boom,
rock
boom, boom,
reggae,
boom, boom,
I love it.
boom, boom,
I
boom.
love it. I even consider
You don't
myself
like
a
this one? Yo, you don't like Murder She Wrote, Murder
yeah,
She Wrote.
of course I do.
Okay,
I like some.
I
Yes,
love that
of
shit.
course I
I
do.
love that shit.
But I'm not gonna lie and sit there and say that I don't enjoy roots rock reggae better than the more newer, more contemporary.
Right, 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 right. That's
What do you call that? Dance hall.
dance hall.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm more into the
You
roots.
probably like rockers too. Like rockers.
I
Rockers
love
is like
Rockers. Is one of my favorite
I like
movies.
rockers too. Freddie Prinze. That
I
was
love
Gregory
Rockers.
Isaac. Gregory Isaac
I
and
love
Freddie.
Gregory Isaacs. I love Peter
Come on, man.
Tosh. I
I
love
like Peter Tosh.
Bunny Wailers.
Mm.
Bob Marley, of course.
So, hey, check this out.
All
Before you
these
go, guess
guys.
what? I could tell I'm so New York, and the Jamaicans in New York know why. I love dance hall. Your dance hall, they really, the New York vibe helped accept it, and that's when it spread. But yeah, go ahead though,
Right.
man. Yeah. So I ain't got no problem with reggae or Jamaicans. I have a problem when you try to claim a Black American thing that's not yours. And I understand some of you really don't know that it's not yours, so it's going to be tough taking your lips off the titty you've been sucking because you thought that was your mama's titty. So see, I just made that up. So I understand. Listen to me. A lot of Jamaicans, they didn't know. They just grew up thinking it because we didn't correct it like we should have years ago. They did a magazine article. It pissed me off. I think in the late, I don't know, 90s, and they had this the treachery that was done. Somebody told me at this party it was other foundational Black Americans, but they found the three, and it was a Caribbean person who did the article. So we realize now why they did it. This is deep. That's what I'm telling you. There's a Source magazine cover right now, and it has three immigrant three Black people of Caribbean descent who we wouldn't know that because they talk, dress, walk. I'm gonna get back to fashion. Black New Yorkers, and they put them on the cover, and they put the Holy Trinity of hip hop. This is what the shit we didn't correct it then, but we correcting it now.
Yeah, I remember that cover.
Shout out to Tariq Nasheed. That's right. And they put Kool Herc, who was very important for the spread of hip hop, but he was not a creator at all. He was a Jamaican immigrant who came to America at 12, listened and joined into Black American culture, and that's it. Okay, they had Kool Herc, they had Grandmaster Flash, who would tell you he was a geek, and he didn't play no Caribbean music at all. It's all foundational Black American. He'll tell you James Brown, he's from Georgia. And then you had the other one. They had Africa Bambaataa, who they don't want to use him now because he's, because of the pedophile accusations. And Africa Bambaataa, he's on film telling you he went to the West Bronx to listen to, and so did Kool Herc. They went to listen to Disco King Mario from North Carolina, a FBA who moved to West Bronx, and Mario is who Herc, is who Grandmaster Flash, and who's the other immigrant, and Bambaataa. They all went to listen to Disco King Mario from North Carolina, who lived in New York. And the reason why he was called Disco King Mario, it wasn't because he did disco. It's because he had pull, and he could get discotheques and big events to throw his hip hop. So he was the king of getting these spots. So Disco King Mario, because other people like Kool Herc, they couldn't get these spots. So they couldn't get the discos to throw their hip hop jams in. You get it?
Yeah,
Mario
exactly.
could. Mario could, and Mario is from North Carolina.
Yeah,
And
Disco King Mario was like the catalyst between the street New York kids and the disco Studio 54 crowd. You know,
yeah,
and because I know that during those times a lot of the b boys weren't really allowed in those Studio 54 type of
we wasn't.
situations.
We like to wear
You want to
sneakers
elaborate on that?
Okay, so even as late as let's keep it real, because I don't want to be a liar. When I was 15, that's 1976. Okay, that's still not too far, right?
Right.
I remember that was the height. Oh, back to the fashion. We wore shell toe Adidas. We wore Pumas. Suede Pumas that cost a lot of money. Very expensive stuff that the average kid, your mom ain't pay. Your mom, I'm not paying no $35. That was a lot of money back then because you get sneakers for $10. So I ain't paying no $35 for no Pumas. So the hip hop kids who wanted to be hip hop, who wanted to be different from our brother, we would get money to buy the shoes, gabardines, and I forgot all the name of the goddamn pants, the shirts, the mock neck shirts, and of course later on came the sheepskin coats and the quarter fields, which came a little later. So hip hop had a certain look that us foundational Black Americans did. The Puerto Ricans saw this, and later, every time we got something, like it would be later on before they catch on. So we was always, by the time we just started it, they'll be doing it. So we seen the Puerto Ricans dressing like us, but we wasn't mad because we saw. We was aware that these are the new Puerto Ricans. We would see their parents. They say, mira, vaya, tiro puente. And then we see the kids. Hey, man, I want to listen to that hip hop with you because some of them still had access. You get it? That's how much. So let me still a point. So Disco King, I'm going to go there all day. West Bronx, not South Bronx, is where the Black American kids, and you can find them, but they don't want to. A lot of the media, certain part of the media, and especially Puerto Ricans, they don't want to talk about them because the reason why the Puerto Ricans don't want to talk about these names, Disco King Mario, DJ Faze, Dancing Doug, and Trick. You know why they don't want to talk about them? One
Tell me.
simple answer: because they weren't around. They don't even know who they are because the Puerto Ricans had not come into hip hop yet. It's really simple. By the time the Puerto Ricans came into it, that's when Flash was there. That's when Bambaataa was there. That's when the Puerto Ricans were starting to come to it. But only a sprinkle like Charlie Chase and Ruby D. And all of these guys will tell you, these Puerto Ricans who didn't use Puerto Rican names because they would have got disrespected because we didn't want to hear no Spanish stuff. So Ruby D, he's Puerto Rican. Charlie Chase, he's Puerto Rican. They never had Puerto Rican names. And you would see a few Puerto Ricans, and it was cool because they made sure they dressed like us. They wasn't dressing like Puerto Ricans.
Now,
They didn't speak no Spanish.
brother, let me interject real quick.
Okay.
You mentioned Charlie Chase and you mentioned Ruby D.
Uh-huh.
First of all, I commend these brothers for keeping it real and telling the truth
Yep.
on interviews, and they will let
Yep.
you know. Charlie Chase and Ruby D will let you know that this hip hop, especially when it comes to the rapping part, was
Especially, yeah.
always a black thing. As a matter of fact, you can listen to some of the early hip hop, and you hear like Ruby D. Ruby D,
Yep.
one of his lyrics. My name is Ruby D, and I'm a Puerto Rican. You might think I'm black because the way I'm speaking. You don't write rhymes like that if you co-created
That's
something
right.
50-50.
Thank you, brother. Good one.
You
That's
know
a
what I'm
good one.
saying? Big
That's what I'm saying.
big pun.
See,
Big pun. Some people say that I'm blacker than Cole, like Nat King. You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
see, I didn't even catch. I love Big Pun, but I didn't catch that lyric.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never caught that lyric.
On the very first track of that Capital
Yo, let me
Punishment
do my Big
album.
Pun. Let me do my Big Pun. And yo, it's so love, but love's got a thin line, and pun's got a big nine. Respect prime, but not when you respect mine. The shit I'm on is wrong, but it lasts long. Pull up on trunk and get you. He said some fly shit. He said,
Yeah,
you're gonna
my
get his
bitch got
ass
the
kicked.
meanest
I
ass.
love Big Pun.
Yeah. I
Big
love Big
Pun.
Pun, and as a matter of
Yeah,
fact, that
but
beat that he
but
was
I
rhyming
love
on.
Big Pun. Let me say this. I love Big Pun, but still, Puerto Ricans had zero part of creating hip hop. That's all. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say that. I'll say that all day. And Jamaicans had zero part of creating. Challenge me, please. Bring the Jamaicans. I want them all. I want the smoke so bad because I'm pissed. I'm so proud. When hip hop came out, it was rebel music. I remember a white cop. This is late. This is like 1970. This is 1981. White people still hadn't caught up to it. And I was walking, or let me see, I'm walking, I had a big boom box. I was blasting this white cop on Staten Island. They the worst racist cops in New York City,
Oh
Staten
yeah,
Island.
I done
Oh,
heard legendary
and he
stories.
sings, but hold up, this white cop, I can't be mad at him because watch what he said, because he still respect black music. But what he said, he said to me, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "Hey, what you doing with all the big hippity hoppy music? What is that stuff? That's not music. Why don't you listen to James Brown and Marvin Gaye?" And I just walked away smiling because that's what we wanted. We wanted to be rebels. When that white cop said, "Listen to James Brown," he didn't realize James Brown but he just heard the boom boom bap. And because hip hop was a rebel music, I just wanted to add that. And there was no Jamaican music. It was no Puerto Rican music. We wasn't playing no goddamn salsa. We wasn't
Nah,
playing no damn.
you can't be boy to
So
you can't be boy
you
to
can't.
liven up yourself. You can't be boy to that. But
Hey,
yo,
look, check this out
but
here.
check it out, man. I wanted
Yes,
to
sir. Yes, sir.
I wanted to address the elephant in the room. A la
Okay.
Lord Jamar, he has a new single out called "Elephant in the Room," and
Oh,
that's a perfect analogy for what I'm about to say right now. Because I want
okay.
to talk about the elephant in the room,
Okay.
and the elephant in the room, and you and I both know this. You grew up around Puerto Ricans, Latinos, and so did I. The elephant in the room is the racism within the
I knew it.
Latino community
That's right.
because check this out the racism in the Latino because I have this conversation with Latinos all the time. How can hip hop was created in response to government oppression, to being suppressed, oppressed,
Yep.
economically, financially. Uh, it was created to battle racism and things of that nature. So how can your culture be co-creators of a genre that came up fighting the power, so to speak? You cannot have a racist culture and create hip hop, something that was created to battle and disenfranchise white supremacy. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. So I don't see how you can compare that type of situation and say that, hey, Puerto Ricans co-created hip hop, but we have a racist culture. Latinos co-created hip hop, but we have a racist culture. How can you do that?
Puerto Ricans, it's not, you'll see, it's white. That's not like Puerto Ricans will be quick to tell you. Puerto Ricans are a mixture. Some are white, some are black, some are Indian, and some are mixed. They write about that. But what they don't point out is that Puerto Rico is a white, they follow white supremacy. So all the whites, all the leaders in Puerto Rico are white. The neighborhoods that people are doing well is white. And anybody have a doubt, go look. Of course, they'll find some sprinkles of black Puerto Ricans. We know that black Puerto Ricans are in Puerto Rico, but those black Puerto Ricans they are oppressed by the white Puerto Ricans over there, the same as we are over here.
Yeah,
Okay, you
so you
smart?
were basically talking about we were talking about I guess the racism in the Latino community and how how it couldn't possibly be they couldn't possibly be co-creators because hip hop was designed to fight racism and white supremacy. So how can it come from something that it was designed to fight? You see what I'm saying?
Not only did it come from all black culture, this is a good point you made. Puerto Ricans identify as white, the dominant Puerto Ricans. Straight hair, white skin, some of them can blend in right with white people. Their culture comes from Spain, Spain, where they speak Spanish. Spain, the same ones who took all the African slaves. Spain always been anti. Spain is the biggest importer of black. It's a race thing. So Puerto Ricans trying to take it to give it to Puerto Ricans, but then they say Latinos. Now you're including Latinos who wasn't even in New York. See, Puerto Ricans are trying to shoehorn all of Latin America because I was so mad. Latino dude made a rhyme, something like I can't remember. I'm gonna find it where I give respect to blacks in black people on the culture, but I don't gotta pay respect to you because Puerto Rican lays the groundwork for you. He said Latino. He said Latinos in New York. This is a Chicago.
Yeah, I need to find out who that guy is.
I was so mad. This Mexican Chicano in L.A. and he got a bunch of guys. They rock to our beat. They saying, yeah, we don't gotta give you credit for creating hip hop because Latinos in the Bronx laid the groundwork for you. So that's what Puerto Ricans trying to do. Puerto Ricans did not bring no Spanish. If they created hip hop, tell us the songs. You know, the funny thing, every song they named to you is gonna be a Black American song. That's what's so crazy. They say, yeah, you dancing to our music. So no, tell us the Spanish music and the Spanish hip hop guys. Let me hear them rapping in Spanish. Oh, they wasn't rapping in Spanish? Why wasn't he rapping in Spanish if Puerto Ricans? Oh, you saying the Puerto Ricans who was close to the blacks in New York, who spoke English like the blacks in New York? Or you saying they helped them blacks? It really looked like you snuggled up to these blacks in New York and we let y'all do it. And then 50 years later, y'all see how fired it is. You say, yeah, we helped too. Because y'all thought he was dead. 50 years is a long time. I'm 64. They thought we was forgot. They thought we was dead, or they thought we wasn't gonna say nothing. Fat Joe wasn't even there, so he don't even count. But I'm happy he did it. I'm happy Busta Rhymes did it because maybe if we waited too much longer, it'd be hard to reclaim our heritage. So yes, Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans are guests in hip hop.
So yes. How do you feel about Tariq Nasheed just recently came out and he said that Grandmaster Melly Mel called him and told him if he could start using the rhetoric that hip hop is not a black thing, it's a Bronx thing. Now, he did the interview on the the microphone check. So, but I guess he's changing his tune a little bit. Now, let me ask you this question. How do you feel about him asking Tariq Nasheed that? And do you think that a lot of these old school hip hop artists like Grandmaster Melly Mel, Furious Five, a lot of these guys, do you think that they are somewhat compromised and they kind of don't want to rock the boat because they don't want to be uninvited to like the Wild Style reunion parties and the Beat Street reunions and the hip hop festivals and stuff like that? Do you think that they are compromised because they don't want to mess up their money?
You just answered it in your question, Shaq. I'm gonna elaborate. You just answered in your question because I was bugging out that Melly Mel flip. And first of all, Melly Mel, he's a pioneer, but he didn't create hip hop, so he wasn't there with Disco King Mario. So we ain't got to worry about that too much. I want to see what the dudes in West Bronx have to. Well, they already spoke. They already seen Melly Mel. It's about money. And I you know what? It's easy for me to.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. Because we have to survive. We have to eat out here.
Yeah, so Melly Mel got money at stake. Puerto Ricans love him in the Bronx as long as he don't. The reason why Puerto Ricans love him in the Bronx, because let me just make clear about this here. Oh, I gotta say this clearly. We keep saying Puerto Ricans. People understand this. Everybody listen to this here, right? It's not the Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico or Florida. There's a lot of Florida. They not trying to claim New York hip hop. I've heard Puerto Ricans in Florida and in Puerto Rico, they pissed off with the New York City Puerto Ricans because they making Puerto Ricans look bad. The Puerto Ricans will say, hey man, everybody knows that's black music. Who said that? They didn't realize it's the black Puerto Ricans who are so surrounded by email. If you still on that,
we back recording again. Yeah, so I answer my own question basically is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's for money.
It's compromise.
It's probably maybe millions of dollars. I mean, think about it. For Melly Mel to call Tariq, who we know Tariq is strong FBA, Melly Mel basically seemed like he said, yo, Tariq, I know I said that, man, but look, man, this is what I imagine how it really went. If he didn't say it that way, this was, I know Tariq, but look, man, I got a lot invested in this, man. I'm from the Bronx, but I can't be online saying that because it's going to mess up a lot of my money. So can you take me out of that, please?
Right.
That's all it is. I ain't mad at Mel. But Mel, we understand you got to do what you got to do. We got to do what we got to do.
Right, that's the thing, man. I understand you got to get your money, and this is the thing that this is what really irks me about this whole thing, is that a lot of these cats, a lot of these pioneers, man, all throughout the year, for the most part, they are ignored, man. They ignore these. They ignore these pioneers.
Yes,
They ignore
yes.
these brothers, man. They don't
Mm-hmm.
pay them no.
See
They
that
don't pay them
being?
no. Never
See?
mind.
Yep.
But when it's time to colonize somebody's culture, when it's time to say, "Hey, we created hip hop 50-50. Hey, this is our thing. This is hip hop comes from Latin soul and salsa and all of that stuff." Okay, well now they want to go and grab these pioneers to try to get them to co-sign with the bullshit. And that's what really irks me, because if it wasn't for if it was, y'all would be ignoring them for the most part. So I don't like that very much. I don't like the fact that our pioneers, especially the black ones, are just ignored and they don't pay no attention to them. But when it comes to trying to steal some shit, now they want to come and grab them and say, "Hey, can you throw me a lifeline?" That really irks my soul.
You know what I compare that to? That was great. You said that. Watch my analogy. I think I'm good on analogy there. Okay, that's why. Okay, you see how all these Mexicans and illegal immigrants are getting deported,
Right.
right? And how they crying and black Americans we chill. Same thing with hip hop. It's happening at the same time. We are kicking out immigrants into our black American culture. We're kicking out Puerto Rico. When I say kick them out, they can still do it, but they can't claim co-creation anymore. By telling the truth, we're kicking the Puerto Ricans and the Jamaicans out of the hip hop creation story because they should have never been there. But they got put in there most because of that source. I never forget that article pissed me off. Three Caribbeans are. Can you imagine, man? They come to our country, do our music, James Brown, Aretha Franklin, and then they say these three Caribbeans. You see the disrespect? These three Caribbeans who act like black Americans, and we didn't even know they was Caribbeans, that they're the ones, they're the ones? Do you know how many people in Jamaica are who have, hey man, we're happy, man. We're the ones that we created hip hop. I'm pissed off when I saw that girl, and I like Shelly Ann Frazier from Jamaica, that rap winner. She fine. But she was on with Charlamagne the God. When I saw that clip, I was so. She said, hip hop. That's where it started in Jamaica. Do you know my blood boiled? And I hope all the Jamaicans who disputed, please have accents, because that makes it more fun. He said, what do you mean, blood fire? Be clear. Please have accents. Don't talk to me in the Puerto Ricans. I want you to talk like this. When you're telling me, bro, we created, talk that way, because we make it clear who you really are. You're Spanish speaking people, you're Jamaican, Patois speaking people from another country who fly different flags. And then you
With
come to me
Irish
and
accents, because that accent comes from Ireland, actually.
I heard that, yep. So you come to America where we foundational black Americans have fought, suffered, died. We went through hell over here. We wish we wasn't here, but we couldn't come here. And y'all damn sure wasn't trying to come here then. But the Puerto Ricans, you know why the Puerto Ricans wanted to come? Because they had white Puerto Ricans, and when they got here, they thought they was gonna be treated as white. And they'll tell you that. And when the white people find out, oh, you're not white, they kick them into our neighborhoods. They didn't want to be out. So now we're stuck with these white Puerto Ricans who don't really like us. Ask the brothers in West Bronx. In fact, the spade dance is which break dance it come from. It was started by the black spades, and they would tell you they formed their gang to protect them against white Puerto Ricans and Italians in the Bronx. So don't tell me Puerto Ricans helped create hip hop, and don't tell me Jamaicans create hip hop. We is a black American thing, and you join in, and you don't have a culture like us, and you're jealous, so you want to be a part of it. And I'll stand by that.
That's right, man. Words spoken.
And the music didn't come from New York for you New York City tethers. Anytime you see black people in New York putting the South down, guarantee you they got part Caribbean ancestry. Because most black Americans in New York, we got family all over. You would never really hear a real black New Yorker go off on Georgia or on Texas. Not a black American. You'll see a dude with his hat to the side talking, yeah, what's up, man? It's New York, man. It's fuck the South, man. Because that nigga's a cosplayer. Black American all the way.
Exactly, brother.
Hip hop was created. Hip hop, like Lord Jamar said, hip hop was created in the West Bronx. Let's just say, we don't even say that because some Brooklyn dudes getting that. Let me say this because the story is. Let's be specific. It was created in New York, and I said West Bronx by foundational black Americans with roots from the South who were listening to mostly Southern music. That's the music we listen to. James Brown, Lynn Collins, Aretha Franklin and
Pig Meat
others.
Markham. Pig Meat Markham is from
Oh yeah,
the South,
we
and he's one of the first rappers.
I used to say that when I was young. Pick me, mom. When I was in Brooklyn, we said, "Here comes the judge." I think we used to say that. We used to love in Brooklyn. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Everybody, we said we were doing Pick Me Markham in Brooklyn. And I don't know the year. I don't want to get mixed up. 70, 73, somewhere around there.
Right.
Maybe earlier. Yeah, Pick Me Markham. So yeah, that's it, me, brother. So, but I love being in the fight. I'm enjoying it. To be honest, I'm having a good time. I'm gonna be honest with you. If this thing stopped tomorrow, I would be sad. Ain't that messed up? So I might get passionate, but I wake up ready to go at Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans by hip hop because it raised me. It was me. It saved me. It was mine. It wasn't yours, Puerto Ricans. It wasn't yours. But you know what? Some of the Puerto Ricans in New York, they so lost. They feel like it was mine. They're talking about 80s. They're not talking about 70s like me. It was mine.
That's right.
83, motherfucker. You talking about 12 years later. And they don't know because they grew up in our culture, Puerto Ricans. We don't fly a foreign flag. We didn't do your music. As long as you Puerto Ricans keep trying to claim hip hop, you're going to make the separation farther. You can't, there's no way around it. You got to start saying, yeah, I realize it's black American culture and that Puerto Ricans, the younger ones, not our parents, we gravitated to it because we liked it and we started doing it early. Say that.
Exactly. The new catchphrase is, well, I don't care who created it. So that's how they just kind of brush it off and just say, I don't care who created it. And basically, I'm not saying that I created it, but I'm not admitting that you created it either. But check this out. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up with this very last question.
Okay.
So, recently, and I'm speaking specifically about the Democratic Party because nobody else have done this besides this previous administration that was in office. So we recently had the hip hop 50th, right? And so you had people invited to the White House to perform and do stuff like that, and the White House was celebrating 50 years of hip hop. I know Kamala Harris met with Fat Joe and other hip hop artists, and they are basically trying to give hip hop their flowers. And I want your opinion on this, but this is my opinion is these people, the government or the previous administration were using hip hop and using non-black American hip hop artists as the face and the representatives of hip hop. And even Kamala Harris came out and she talked about the 50th anniversary of hip hop and how she loved hip hop and loved Too Short and all of these and Tupac and all of this stuff, even though she was caught in the lie with that. But she basically came out and she said that hip hop is a Caribbean influence, African influence, Latino influence. She came out and she named every group of people except the people who created it, Black Americans. Do you feel that it is a tactic by the government to try to undermine Black Americans or try to push us out of the hip hop culture because one, it is $1 billion industry now, and two, because hip hop has made its way to the Olympics with the breaking. So, do you think that the government wants to push us out of the creation story because it's $1 billion industry now, and they don't want it to be traced back to Black Americans? How do you feel about that?
I feel like you said it. I'll be honest with you. You said it, so I can't say it. So what you said is 100% correct, but I'll just add on. Yeah, and no, I ain't gonna lie, man. You just hurt me just now. Like, actually, I felt pain. I feel fucking anger at that fucking bitch. Did she say that shit for real? Did she
Yeah, she said that. She named every group. She named every group except Black Americans.
I hate that bitch. I hated her from day one, before this, because this bitch, I seen her tomorrow. She's Indian. You fucking cunt. You ain't black. You fucking cunt. I hate that bitch. All right. So I didn't, and I'm speaking more because I didn't know this bitch said that shit. Yeah, they trying to take out shit. Yo, and before I said, not just Tariq Nasheed, he's just the most famous one. And when Tethers hate him, that lets you know he's doing something right. I love him for that shit. He said what you said, these motherfuckers.
That's
But I
right.
mean, keep in mind, it's money. I'm not surprised that they're gonna take the money because the white people gonna get their money anyway. But I'm not letting you motherfuckers give these immigrant Tethers credit. Ain't no goddamn Puerto Rican or no Jamaican. Jamaican man. I'm talking like man, there's no Jamaican. And bro, there's no Puerto Ricanos, man. And that's not that one. It's not Chinese. That's not nothing. You're fucking right. You know, of course, my friend, there's no orange. How the fuck you scumbags think you're gonna take our shit now? You almost got away with it, but there's so many of us waking up, and you look at the proud FBA from all over the country. This has unified us more than anything. So if it took that scumala, I'm glad she's not the president because I don't like to talk about the president on the phone. I'm careful, but that bitch ain't president no more. That cunt, and
Well, she never was. She was a
like
vice president. You know what I'm saying?
okay, well,
But
fuck her anyway.
yeah.
But hell, we gonna. But see, that treachery, that treacherous shit she talked to you Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans and your other, the treacherous shit she said at that 50th hip hop anniversary, the shots that we firing back that seem vicious to you, that's our response to the shot this bitch shot at us. Cause it's like a shot in our heart to give you motherfuckers our credit, and that's how I feel about you. I'm not listen. Everybody love their own culture. So in general, I have nothing negative about any of those cultures. I have my feelings, like you have your feelings, and some of these feelings could be kept inside, and we could co-mingle and coexist. But once you start trying to take my shit, then it's a war. Then weapons come out, and one of the weapons I got is words. And you fucking foreigners, get off our dick. It's all black American. Ain't none of your Chinese, Jamaican. Ain't nothing your fucking Jamaican. I can't stand you. Shoeless, high water, flower shirts, nasty hair niggas coming over here and say, yeah, man, we created that. Fuck y'all.
I couldn't have said it better myself, ladies and gentlemen. Story Guy. This brother is known as Story Guy on TikTok. You know, you can look him up. He's always spitting hot fire, man.
I got Story Guy. I think it's Story Guy 19. You know, on TikTok they be bad. I be having to tone down my language. You know, if I talk like this, I'll never be on there. But I try to choose my words carefully. But yeah, I'm a Story Guy. Story Guy 1960.
That's right, Story Guy 1960. You know, you can look him up. But this brother is always spitting hot fire, and he's always down and representing the people. He's representing the FBA, and he's very knowledgeable on the early days of growing up in New York City, in the Bronx, and Brooklyn, and things of that nature. So, do you have any last words that you want to say before we shut this down?
Okay, to FBA, anybody, I apologize to you. I curse a lot. We always need people like me to keep it blunt. I love black people so much, man. At one time, I got caught up in that New York against the South stuff, but it was nothing. We all did that. But I just thought it was all FBA. Now I'm realizing half of these guys in New York that be saying something about the South, the reason why they could say it so easily because they didn't have no allegiance to you because their parents was from the Caribbean. I didn't realize that shit back then. So yeah, so
Right.
New York is full of black immigrants that are not like us. Not all of them, but if you see a New Yorker and he speaks about, you got to find out where his great grandparents come from, and then you'll know where his allegiance lies. That's it. Yeah.
That's right, brother. And I'm gonna say these last words myself. And this is to a lot of the older cats in you know, especially in the hip hop game and things of that nature. If you're not gonna if especially if you're a black American, if you're not going to gatekeep our culture, if you're not going to stop people from trying to colonize our culture and take it over, the same thing that they did with rock and roll, the same thing that they did with country music, if you sit back and allow them to colonize our culture and our music, then it is my humble opinion, even though I'm not from the Bronx, but it doesn't matter. But it is my humble opinion as a hip hop head and as an artist myself. It is my humble opinion that you need to step aside. If you are not going to gatekeep our culture, If you want to just give it away all free and willy-nilly, if everything that create is goddamn community property in your eyes, you need to step aside and let real FBA stand on business and gatekeep our culture. You know what I'm saying? But this has been another episode of the Rebellious Rhymer podcast. I would like to thank my special guest, Story Guy. I'm your host, Shane the Artist. And go ahead, brother. You got something else to say before we wrap up?
I just said Story